Hey guys, Aaron here. Today I'm going to be going over how to replace the belts on a Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra with the 5.3 liter and the 6.2 liter Ecotec engines. These belts, there's actually three of them. There's a normal belt, normal serpentine belt with a typical spring tensioner, and then there's two stretch fit belts, one for the AC compressor and one for the vacuum pump. The vacuum pump does require a special tool to install. I'll go over how to use that and where you can buy them in a little bit. And then the AC belt, I actually like to use zip ties, and I'll show you exactly what to do to install that belt correctly. But before we begin, let's go ahead and disconnect the battery via the negative cable, and then we'll go over the tools you'll need to get the job done. All right, so here's pretty much everything that we're going to need. First is the most important tool. This is the stretch fit tool to apply the belt onto the vacuum pump. This is a tool manufactured by Gates, and there's the part number. I'll also put all the part numbers of all the tools and the belts in the link in the description if you're confused on which belts you're going to need. I wouldn't skimp on not buying this. Using a screwdriver or something like that can damage the belt or the pulley itself. This is really a nice tool to have. You can go to any O'Reilly Auto Parts or Napa, CarQuest, or even the dealer will sell this as well. And it's not too expensive. Definitely something worth having. We're going to be cutting the stretch fit belts, so some scissors, knife, a shear. I'm just using some hose cutters. They work well. And then a 24mm socket is going to be needed to turn the crankshaft. Then of course a wrench for that. And this is a 1/2 inch socket, a 1/2 inch ratchet. We're going to be needing this for the tensioner on the serpentine belt. And then we're going to be using one single zip tie for the AC compressor belt and installing it. It's probably the handiest thing for installing that specific belt. So let's go ahead and disconnect our battery cable. Now with the ground cable located in the back, it's by far the most easiest to remove. Obviously we have a cover over our positive cable. Just simply take a 10mm socket, loosen it up, and lift up and swing it out of the way. We don't want the engine starting when we're down here working on it by accident. Alright, so by working from the top, what we're going to need to do first is just remove your intake. If you have an aftermarket intake, of course, it's going to look a little bit different, but this is a stock intake here. What I like to do is just come over here and remove the two PCV valves, or two PCV lines. You have one on the right side and one on the left side. To remove them, just simply depress this gray part and swing it out of the way. It comes out of the way quite easily. Just a little quick disconnects, and then remove the hose clamp on your throttle body, and over here on your inlet you don't have to remove the air box. Using a 5/16 or 8mm socket or even a flat blade screwdriver works as well. As you can see, it's pretty big. With that removed, you can get a lot better access to our belts. See, it's a lot easier from the top than it is the bottom, and these belts look okay. There is some minor glazing on them. I'm just going to replace them out of preventative maintenance. This vehicle does have over 100,000 miles on it. So now next step is just to get your 1/2 inch wrench and put it in your tensioner pulley right here, and by turning it to the right you're going to release a lot of the tension and you can remove this belt. Once it's loose, you could just go ahead and remove it. Slide it around the back. Now it's free. Now the easiest way to remove this belt, of course, is just to cut it. The belt itself isn't too hard to cut. I'm just using these hose cutters here. You can even just get a knife and cut it. And now lastly, all we have to do is cut off the belt for the vacuum pump. It does have its own belt. Once we have that out of the way, we can begin to install our new belts.
All right, so now to put our stretch fit belt over our vacuum pump here, what we're going to do is put the belt over the crankshaft first and slide it all the way to the back. and then we're just going to put the belt around the top of the vacuum pump pulley. We're not going to take our special tool by Gates. This is a special tool made for only stretch fit belts. Don't try to use a screwdriver or anything. You'll end up damaging the pulley, and that's not recommended. So go ahead with the bolt facing the motor. Put the stretch fit belt over the pulley and kind of turn it a little bit. And what you'll find is that the belt will have a little bit of tension, and that's good. That way it holds on to the pulley itself. Here's a little closer look of the actual stretch fit tool on the pulley itself. You can see that the top piece is laying over the belt, and that bottom rod that screws in, make sure that the belt stays fastened to the pulley when you're turning the crankshaft. There we are. So the next item on the list here is going to be our AC stretch belt. What I've done is I've taken a zip tie and I zip tied the belt onto the pulley. And the key is to actually put the belt behind the pulley. That way you have enough room to get it onto the AC compressor belt. I'm going to turn this zip tie until it's about, I'd say about 2 o'clock on our pulley position. There we are. So with the slack of the pulley, or the slack of the belt behind the pulley, might be about 1 o'clock. There we are. We can get that belt on the AC compressor. Now simply turning it to the left, we'll tension the belt and put it on the correct groove. Just keep turning it, and if you notice your AC belt isn't on all the way, keep turning it and it will slip onto the correct grooves. And there we have it. Alright, now that we got all 3 belts on, we're free to go ahead and put our stock intake back on and start up the motor. Alright, so there we have it. Hope this video has helped you out. If it has, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments or any concerns, feel free to leave something in the comment section. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.